Hey, it's Vas here from Metro Hobbies, and today we're going to be revisiting one of our best-selling cars, the ECX AMP. So we're going to take these guys out of the box and find out what makes them such great cars. Okay, so once you get everything out of the box, this is what you see. You'll get the car fully assembled and ready to go. You'll have a sticker sheet, which will of course allow you to decorate the body a little bit so you can customize the look of your amp. You will get a battery. Now the battery does come already pre-fitted in the car, so you won't see this sort of like loose in the box or anything like that. So make sure you look for that inside the car. It is an 1800 milliamp. Of course, you can get bigger capacity batteries if you want a longer run time. And then of course you also get the charger. Now the wall charger that they give you is what's known as a trickle charger. So it's a kind of a slow charger. It will take some time to charge up the battery. Make sure you read through the instructions to make sure you charge up the battery for the the long time that you sort of need to. Now, this does come with different adapters for different parts of the world. So you've got to look for your specific adapter for here in Australia. Plug that into the actual wall charger and away you go. You can start charging your battery. So we'll close that up and put that away. In here, you'll see the radio as well, which we'll get to in a second. And then in the actual sheet or the little bag here with the manual, I'll open this up real quick to kind of show you what you get in here, because they do give you everything to get going with this car. So you'll have a little foam block. This is just to secure the battery in the battery tray if you do happen to have smaller batteries or something like that. That's what that foam block is for. They give you a little toolkit as well. So there's a little cross wrench which will help you take out the wheels of the car in case you need to. There's also a little Allen key as well, which is good for your pinion in case you need to change out the pinion. And that's pretty much everything you get there. There is also 4 AA's, which is for your radio. So they include those in the bag as well. And then there are some plastic bits and some double-sided tape in here as well. So double-sided tape will come in handy in case the ESC kind of comes unstuck from the chassis. So they give you a spare one of those. There's a little bind plug in here. Now you won't necessarily need to use this because the radio should already be bound to the car. But in case you do need to rebind it for whatever reason, the little bind plug is in there. There's also a couple of preload spacers which will help you kind of stiffen up the shocks a little bit. And then there's some spare servo horns in there as well. In case you ever change out the servo, you've got the spare servo horns to suit. Now in here, in this little thing, it's basically just instructions, like warnings and things like that that you can read through. And then the all-important user manual. Now you will find a spare parts list for this on the Horizon Hobby website as well. But in here, it kind of goes through all the necessary steps for you to get the car going. So there's information on how to plug everything in, where the on and off switch is, how long to charge the battery for, all of those sorts of information is in here. So really basic stuff, but very important stuff to read through. But as I said, there will be more information on Horizon Hobby website. We'll put links in the video description for you to check out as well. So that's everything there. And now we've got the all-important radio. Now what makes these cars so good as well, especially for beginners out there, is that the radio is actually quite small and it's ideal for small hands. So for those of you who have young kids and you want to give them a car that it's not going to be too cumbersome for them to hold and coordinate, this is actually a really good radio. So it has a really nice feel, a nice weighted trigger, nice little wheel here, and then behind the little door you'll actually see a bunch of dials and switches and everything else. And I'll run you through what all of these are just really quickly. So on the bottom here, we have our on and off switch. And then we go through to, let's go on this side, which is the, as you're looking at it, will be the right side. So this is your steering trim and your throttle trim. Now the throttle trim you shouldn't really need to touch. So that little arrow on top there should really be pointing to like the bottom. So like at 6 o'clock. And then the steering trim essentially allows you to align the wheels, so that way the car can actually drive straight. Now over on the left hand side you will see steering dual rate and throttle dual rate. Now throttle dual rate is actually really good because you can dial down the top speed of the car. So if you're going to give this again to a young kid or somebody that's a bit less experienced and you don't want to go full speed with it, you can turn down that dial so that when they pull the trigger all the way, the car's only going to go as fast as you kind of set it. And when you turn it all the way down, it's basically like a walking pace. It really doesn't go very quick at all. Now, the steering dual rate essentially sets how much steering you have in the car. So if you turn that all the way up, you're going to have maximum steering. If you turn it all the way down, you're only going to be able to turn the wheels a little bit, even though you're full locking the wheel here. Now ideally you do want to set your steering dual rates so that when you do lock the wheels actually stop turning at that exact point. And what I mean by that is you don't want to exceed the turning angle of the wheels, because what happens is the servo is going to keep turning or keep wanting to turn the wheels even though the wheels mechanically can't turn anymore. That angle is maxed out. So there's an instructional video and things like that on how to do that online, and we can link you one of those videos in the video description as well. But essentially that's what that is. Usually I set that to about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, somewhere in there, so it should be pointing straight down. You don't really need to turn that all the way to max. Now the two top switches on top, these reverse your channels. So this is a 2-channel vehicle. So channel number 1 is your steering, so it's channel 1 to turn, and channel 2 to burn, which is your throttle. Okay, so it actually says ST and TH, so ST for steering and TH for throttle. And what that does is it reverses the channels. So if you have the channel for the steering reversed, as you turn the wheel to the right, the car will actually turn to the left. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that when you turn the wheel to the right, the car actually turns to the right. And same thing with the throttle. When you pull the trigger here to go forward, you want to be able the car to go forward. If you have that reversed, as you pull the trigger to go forward, the car will just shoot off in reverse, and you don't want that. So that's what those reversing switches do. Usually we don't need really to touch those. And that's pretty much it. So really nice radio that allows you to top out, or manage the top speed of the vehicle, which is ideal for beginners. And then as they get better, you can slowly turn that up and away you go. So that's everything that you get in the box, including the radio. So now let's move on to the cars. Okay, so now as you can see, there are two types of cars. These are exactly the same chassis, they just come with different bodies. So on this side we have the Desert Buggy. Now this is available in 2 colors. You've got the black and red here, and there's also a white and yellow sort of color available in that. And then you've got the Monster Truck, which as you can see is a green and black, and there's also an orange and white, which actually looks really good. Now there is a third model, which we don't have here because it actually comes as a kit. So the Monster Truck version is actually available as a do-it-yourself kit. So it comes just a box full of parts. They give you all the same accessories that you see with the Ready to Run, but they also give you a screwdriver to help you put it all together, and you get a semi-clear body. And what I mean by that is they give you the graphics, but they don't actually paint the main color on the body. So you can choose which color you want that body to be. It could be red, could be yellow, could be whatever color you want it to be, which is a really cool thing. And of course you have the joy of building the truck yourself. So for those of you out there who are a bit more old school and like to build your cars before you use them, that's one option that you can do. But as I said, it's only available in the Monster Truck version, not the Buggy version. So with that said, let's move this over to the side a little bit, and let's focus on the Monster Truck here. So taking the body off, you can see the body is fully pre-painted and ready to go. All holes are drilled and everything. It does come with body pins as well, which I've removed, so that's all good. Now the trucks themselves, or the cars themselves, are actually 2-wheel drive. So the motor's mounted back here. You only have drive to the rear wheels, and you can see there's no drive to the front wheels. So it's traditionally just a 2-wheel drive vehicle. The layout of the car is as you see it. The battery is in the middle there. As you can see, this one is still pre-installed in the car. We have our little steering servo just at the front here. We have our 2-in-1 ESC and receiver. So what that means is that this not only powers the motor, but also acts as a receiver for your radio. So if you do decide in the future that you want to change out radios, you will need to change out this ESC as well, because you're going to need to get your own receiver and so forth. So you have to basically separate those two. The on and off switch for the car is just back here. You'll see it just there. So there's a little a little rubber cover over the switch, because this is kind of splash proof, so you can splash through wet grass, the odd puddle, things like that. That way your electrics aren't going to fry on you if you do get it a little bit wet, so it's totally fine. The brushed motor, as you can see, is all the way back here. It does have some vents on it and so forth. It is advised that you keep an eye on that, because debris can get into those little vents sometimes and cause the motors to fail. And then of course back here there is the cover that you can remove to adjust things like slipper clutch, check your gear mesh, change out the gearing, all those sorts of things that are on there. Now, suspension-wise, these are actually really well tuned. As far as suspension goes, these cars are actually very nicely tuned out of the box. You don't really need to do too much as far as the suspension goes. They're also very durable vehicles. They've got really nice, strong steering knuckles. The arms are actually quite, quite robust, I guess. They can take quite a bit of a hit. And you've got the flexible links on here as well. So they're not the most precise driving machine, but for a beginner, these are absolutely awesome. The tires are a nice rubber tire, which I think the rubber has gotten a little bit softer over the years because they used to be quite hard, but they still don't have foam inserts, so they're just a very basic thing. They do run 12mm hexes, which means that if you do get tired of these tires, no pun intended, you can swap these out and put some nicer tires on here, some nicer wheels and tires if you wish to. So the battery tray, as you can see, doesn't have any body clips or anything like that. They have these little twisty tabs which are actually quite handy, so you just twist these open like so, and the tray kind of removes out very easily like that. And then of course you just replace your battery, take it out, charge it, replace it, put a bigger battery in there, whatever it is you want to do. So a really cool design. There's less things for you to lose and so forth. Now we do have a full range of parts available for these vehicles as well. We've got a wall full of parts if anything does go wrong and you do need to replace something. These have actually been, like I said, one of the best cars that we've had here at Metro Hobbies for many years, both in the buggy and the monster truck. It's got a low center of gravity chassis, which means that they handle really nice as well, because everything kind of sits nice and low. And yeah, they're just a really nice, very simple buggy, easy to work on, easy to maintain, great warranty on these as well for the electrics and so forth. Very well supported vehicles. They've been around for a long time, and I guess this is what makes the ECX AMP such a great seller for beginners and for those out there who want to get into the hobby. And just like that, we've come to the end of another video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and got something out of it. If you did, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. And as I said, check out the video description. We'll have links in there to the ECX amps as well as the kit and all relevant products that you can upgrade and change out on these cars. That is it from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll be speaking to you all next time.